Welcome to the Freedom Club Podcast, where we strive to pull you out of your life of quiet desperation, out of your comfort zone of misery, and propel you into a life of freedom and fulfillment. And now, here's your host for this journey, international speaker and coach, and serial entrepreneur, Kurt Mercadante.
Happy Monday, everyone. This is the Freedom Club Podcast. I am your host, Kurt Mercadante. I hope you've had a fantastic weekend, and I wish you a week ahead filled with freedom and abundance. Today, I want to talk about a common misconception that people have when I speak to them about living radically outcomes-focused lives, in which instead of focusing on just hammering out a to-do list of like 20 or 30 things a day, instead focusing on those 1, 2, 3 key outcomes you know you need to achieve to win each day. Because I've talked about this before. There's a lot of people, whether they're working into a 9-to-5 or they own their own business or an entrepreneur, solopreneur, whatever, they fill their day with bullshit. They fill their day with tasks and to-dos and busy work. I often tell the story of an online Q&A I did in which an entrepreneur said, he's in the office 7 to 9 hours a day, but he admitted that he only actually does 2 to 3 hours of like outcomes-focused work that matters. And I asked him why, and he said, well, I feel guilty if I'm not there. He actually told me, his father told me that a man should work 8 hours a day in the office. And so I often get people saying, well, do you just sit around on the couch the rest of the day? And that, my friends, gets to the heart of the matter. Because that specific entrepreneur who said he was doing 7 to 9 hours in the office, but only doing 2 to 3 hours of work. And I got another comment on LinkedIn this past week. They can't identify those things in their life that they like. When I say like anything, I ask them to make a list of all the things they like, then highlight the things they love. They have trouble doing that simple activity because for so long they have wrapped up their value. They've identified themselves not just by their job, not just by their work, but actually by the hours they work. They don't just wear it as a sense of pride. They wear it as their identity. And that, my friends, is a recipe for disaster. You're heading toward the cliff. Because when people just identify by their work or by their paycheck, that's often why some people get into their 40s or 50s and they become unemployed and they lose their sense of value as a human being because they've only identified by their job. It's why some parents, because they only identify themselves by their family or taking care of their kids, when their kids end up leaving the house, they lose their sense of value. It's often why when unemployment hits or the kids leave the house, there's often tension, sometimes divorce, right, in a family. And that's why I always talk about the importance of alignment and aligning your work with your family and yourself in a way that works for you. But you have to identify those things in your life that fulfill you. Otherwise, you won't be able to even wrap your head around the notion that you could work 2 to 3 hours a day. I set a limit of 12 hours a week, and people think I just sit around and waste away. No, I go to the gym. I box. I spend time with my kids. I go to the bookstore. I go to the library. Whatever it is. I go kayaking in our right off our back here. We can go right into Church Creek here on Johns Island. And so it's not just about limiting the time you work. It's about expanding those things in your life that fulfill you, that give you joy. Investing in your health, mental and physical, investing in your relationships. Because if you can't identify those things, then yes, you're going to fill up your day with bullshit. So that's my challenge to you today. Really spend this next week identifying those things that you like to do, those things that you love to do, those things that if you only worked 2 hours tomorrow at the office, what would you fill up the rest of your day with? Start identifying that. That's how you can really start identifying outcomes in your life, non-work outcomes that are going to lead to a life of freedom and fulfillment. This is the Freedom Club Podcast. I'm your host, Kurt Mercadante. Thank you so much for listening. I'll be back on Wednesday.